Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone off the binary scale. We are back. It is Yugi Joe, and today I'm going to be breaking down anime arc by arc, starting from the very beginning of this week's anime, which is Fairy Tail, to see what each story actually brings to the table. But right now, we're just going to focus on the very first arc, the Macau arc. We start our journey in the port town of Hajion. We are introduced immediately to a talking cat named Happy and a pink-haired wizard named Natsu. Pretty sure y'all are familiar with this iconic duo, but alas, we are exposed very quickly to one of the most common traits throughout the entire of Fairy Tail. Natsu has extreme motion sickness on any sort of mechanical transport, and we see him first struggling to get off of a train. This is painting a pretty helpless version of Natsu, which I think is both comedically and plot-wise pretty important for the start of the show. We now switch over to our other main protagonist for the show, Lucy. She is browsing one of the very few magic shops in this region, and as magic isn't commonplace in Hajion, she's struggling to find something that she likes. However, through her bartering with the shopkeeper, we are quickly informed that Lucy is a wizard that uses celestial magic, aka celestial keys, which will see some action later on in this episode. But I hear you ask, why are both Natsu, Happy, and Lucy all in this specific town of Hajion? Well, they are all three looking for the wizard Salamander. Now, Salamander is a bit of a code name. It's utilized primarily to describe a fire wizard, one of which is currently in town. Natsu wants to find this so-called Salamander as he thinks it may be someone important to him, someone named Igneal. Lucy, however, is currently guildless, so she is looking for a powerful wizard to help her join a guild to become a full-fledged wizard that can take requests and get paid for their work. Both protagonists run into a purple-haired fire mage, claiming to be Salamander, in the town square. Immediately, we notice that all the girls are infatuated with him, and this could be because of his status as a wizard or his potential fame. However, things take a turn when Lucy also becomes infatuated, because she has no real reason to think this guy is a heartthrob, and it seems a bit suspicious. Then Natsu comes around, and he realizes this is for sure not the person he was looking for, and openly kind of disrespects the wizard in front of his adoring fans. This causes a small conflict to break out, and Lucy seems to be knocked out of her infatuation due to the conflict. The wizard then tells everyone he's hosting a yacht party tonight and that all the girls are invited. Then he disappears. Lucy then approaches Natsu and Happy to thank them. She takes them out for food as she suspects the wizard was using charm magic, which is illegal and has been outlawed by the Grand Wizard Council for many decades. Natsu and Happy seemed to do most of that conflict, however, by accident, but appreciated the meal still from Lucy. During their conversation, we find out Lucy's dream guild is Fairy Tail, and that she had always hoped that she could join that guild one day. So it's about that time in the video where I want to know down below in the comment section what arc you're excited for and what other animes or retro cartoons you want me to break down arc by arc. And of course, subscribe, because you need to be notified when I post the next video you've been waiting for from the Yugi Joe channel. So thank you everybody, and we'll get back to this video. Lucy is then approached by the creepy purple-haired salamander guy and told that he wants her to come to the yacht party tonight. And she's like, no, you're a big creeper. I know you use charm magic. It's illegal. I'm not going anywhere near you. But then he says that he knows she wants to join Fairy Tail and that he is the salamander from Fairy Tail. Then her attitude changes a little bit. She has her biggest dream in front of her, and she's willing to give up a couple of her morals, sus if you ask me, to join the Fairy Tail Guild. So she agrees that she will come to the yacht party tonight. And then the salamander uses some fire magic and disappears yet again. Now we see Natsu and Happy in their post-meal glow, just chilling out by the harbour, when they overhear three of the girls that were infatuated with Salamander earlier talk about how he is a powerful fire mage and that he's part of the Fairy Tail Guild, which doesn't sit right with Natsu. In fact, Natsu says this.
So he's in Fairy Tail, is he?
Then we see Lucy in a private room with Salamander, as Salamander tries to feed her some of his drink or her drink, but immediately we see that Lucy is not a mage to be trifled with. She knows her magic, and she knows that there is sleep magic in the drink, so she refuses to drink it, and that's when it's revealed that this entire yacht party has actually been a trafficking trap. They are trying to traffic beautiful women to sell them off to the highest bidder, and Salamander here is the leader of this gang, and I don't think he's a part of Fairy Tail at all. Lucy, not being an idiot, decides to get her celestial keys at the ready, but unfortunately this fraud actually does know some fire magic, and Salamander uses that fire magic to whip the keys out of her hands and throws them into the damn sea. While all seems lost for Lucy and the girls, we know the show isn't about to let us down in the first episode. So it's time for a reintroduction, because I don't think I gave this man enough credit earlier on. This is Natsu Dragneel, the Fire Dragon Slayer magician himself, and the real Salamander of the Fairy Tail Guild. Raised by a literal dragon, this guy eats fire for breakfast. No, seriously, he does that shit. He has no fear for any opponent. And by the way, this fake not only slandered the Salamander name and kidnapped innocent women, he besmirched the name of the Fairy Tail Guild.
What? I'm not gonna let you dirty the Fairy Tail Guild's name!
Natsu's friends and chosen family. This fake has no idea how fucked he is now. Before that, there are two other main characters falling into the water right now, and they definitely deserve their own reintroductions too. First is Happy, sworn best friend to Natsu and his partner in kicking ass. Natsu's glaring weakness of travel sickness is nullified by Happy. Together with his overwhelming firepower and the cat's incredibly fast winged flight magic, Natsu can soar through the sky like a real dragon. Because as he says,
Happy isn't a mode of transportation. He's my friend.
Now last but certainly not least, we have Fairy Tail hopeful Lucy Heartfilia, a celestial key magician to the constellation Zodiacs, a literal wizard multi-tool. She has the ability to call forth specific use case silver keyed spirits or her very overpowered golden key celestial spirits. Each one of the golden keyed spirits is an expert mage themselves, being able to cast multiple types of magic within their themes, and Lucy currently holds multiple of these golden keys. If only she could find them right now. Oh wait, of course she does. Worried about the sickness on the boat, she wants to help Natsu even the playing field. Not that I'm sure this beast will need it, but alas, she doesn't know that right now. She grabs her first gold key and opens the gate of the water bearer, Aquarius. This attitude-giving, proud, merciless sea goddess reluctantly helps her old friend Lucy by creating a tidal wave that could drown Percy Jackson, directed directly at the yacht and the shore. Aquarius, having caused an immense amount of damage and basically landlocking the boat, leaves in her own sassy manner, telling Lucy not to call again anytime soon, clearly hinting at their complex past. And now it's time for the gun show. Back on dry land, it's Fire Wizard versus Fraud Wizard. And it's now when all the characters' stories and motives this episode collide, when this very sentence is said.
My name is Natsu. I'm a Fairy Tail Wizard, and I've never seen you before.
You've got to be kidding me! So Natsu is a Fairy Tail Wizard? Salamander?
And finally, the battle commences, with the fake firing a huge mass of purple flames towards Natsu. And rightfully so, Lucy begins to panic, but there's no need to worry here. As I said before, this guy eats fire for breakfast, and that was just a tasty snack. Natsu now wants to show these clowns what real fire magic looks like, and so he pulls one of his most iconic spells throughout the show, the Fire Dragon Roar.
Here it goes! Fire Dragon Roar!
This destroys the lackeys straight up, and now he's just aura farming on behalf of the Fairy Tail Guild. Natsu proceeds to absolutely pummel the shit out of this guy, while Lucy just watches in awe from the beach. Eventually, Natsu wants to wrap this up, so he takes another gulp of the fraud's fire magic and hits him with a second iconic move from the show, the Fire Dragon Iron Fist.
Fire Dragon Iron Fist!
This completely wrecks the guy, but not wanting to explain all the collateral damage to the guards, Natsu drags Lucy out of there, ending the first episode in this 2-episode arc on this sweet cliffhanger.
Come on, you said that you wanted to join the Fairy Tail Guild, didn't you? So let's go!
All right!
And now we move over to episode 2, the last episode in this arc, and I'll probably speak less about this episode, as I probably will most average episodes when I'm breaking down the arcs of Fairy Tail in the future, but there is still so much to be said about this arc. The previous episode here showed that Lucy loves Fairy Tail, and this is her opportunity to join Fairy Tail. So I think this episode is more about showing us, the audience, why Fairy Tail is such a great guild in the first place. So without further ado, let's look at episode 2. Oh, look, I'm a poet! I knew it though, I did know it. We start off episode 2 with the Magic Council. They're discussing Fairy Tail's latest blunder, Natsu at the port. However, some of the members of the council actually look favourably on Fairy Tail. So it seems like there's a bit of an internal struggle as to whether the literal government, Magic Council, likes the guild or not. But never mind all that. Let's rejoin Happy and Natsu and Lucy over at the Fairy Tail Guild, where Natsu bursts down the door, and immediately he's given quite a warm welcome until one wizard in the guild says something snarky and he starts a brawl immediately. Lucy's quite worried about this, but we can tell by all the other characters' reactions that this is kind of normal for the Fairy Tail Guild to just be brawling in the middle of the day. During this brawl, we get to meet some of the other important Fairy Tail wizards that we are going to see in the future arcs that we're going to cover on this channel. People such as Grey Fullbuster, the Ice Magician, Kana Alberona, the Drunk Magician, as so far as we know at this point, Elfman and Mary Jane Strauss, who are brother and sister, and then Loki as well. Just Loki, no second name to that. And again, the reason for that we will get to later on the channel when we cover their arcs. But these are the important Fairy Tail wizards that sort of get involved in this scrap. Eventually, though, Lucy begins to wonder if there's anyone who is sane within this guild, and immediately as she has that thought, a giant steps in and just crushes everyone, and everyone freezes, and they all stop fighting because this is clearly Makarov, the guildmaster, who does not take shit. He, however, when becoming small again, immediately greets Lucy really friendly. And he is like, sorry about this, but I gotta go do a speech, and tells the Fairy Tails how much of a fuck up they are.
You've gone and done it again, you bunch of clods! Just take a look at how much paperwork the Magic Council sent me this time.
He then goes on to say a very important speech. In fact, one of the most important speeches, I feel, in Fairy Tail.
I say to heck with the Magic Council. If all we do is worry about following rules, then our magic will never progress. Don't let those blowhards on the council scare you. Follow the path you believe in. because that's what makes the Fairy Tale Guild number one!
This, I believe, is the reason that Lucy definitely wants to join, and the idea that Fairy Tale is more than just a guild where you can find jobs. It is a chosen family, solidifying that I think I'm kind of right about this being the general reason that Lucy wants to join, just having this found family as a guild. She immediately signs up straight away after. She gets her stamp as a Fairy Tale member, and Lucy is officially the Celestial Wizard for the Fairy Tale Guild immediately. So that's fun.
Dragon Monkey and Bull!
But the true adventure doesn't start until Natsu and Lucy are looking at the job board, because the last thing that they did together didn't really make any money. That is interrupted immediately by a young wizard named Romeo storming into Fairy Tale and asking Makarov where his father is. Romeo is a part of the Combolt family, and his father, Mikau Combolt, is a wizard who has taken a request to go slay some Vulcans up at Mount Hakabe. He told Romeo that he would only be 3 days, but it's been over a week now, and he's very worried. Makarov sort of says that Mikau's one of the best wizards they have, he's great, and Romeo should just be patient and his father will come home. But you can sort of tell that everyone is a little bit worried that Mikau hasn't come home yet. Then Mira Jane and Lucy have a little discussion because this is seeming to get to Natsu. She tells Lucy all about how Natsu's father was a dragon and that he left when Natsu was very young. Natsu doesn't blame him for leaving. There seems to have been a situation that we don't know about. But Natsu has always wanted to reunite with his father, and this situation's sort of getting to Natsu. Plus, he likes Romeo, and he likes his father, Mikau. So I'm sure you can see where this is going. After Romeo storms out of the Fairy Tale Guild crying, Natsu decides he's going to go to Mount Hakabe and find Mikau. To hell with the money, Fairy Tale comes first. Lucy decides she's going to join him on this trip, and Mount Hakabe is a very snowy place. And they didn't pack well for it, and I think Lucy's kind of more of a hindrance here, but this is all played for comedy. It's actually quite good comedy, and Lucy opens up one of her silver keys in order to get out of a pretty, bad situation of being freezing cold. She uses one of her silver keys to open the Gate of the Clock, which summons her familiar, Horologuin, I think is called. But he's basically a big grandfather clock that she can hide inside. He's got a bit of utility in the fact that he's mainly a very hard shell that she can be inside, and that comes with some sort of defense magic and really big durability. But this travel is very quickly interrupted by a mystery beast, who I'm pretty sure we're all aware currently is the Vulcan that Mikau was trying to slay. The Vulcan puts Lucy in his cave, and Natsu comes to the rescue, but they have some comedic battles that don't actually turn out very well until Lucy decides that she is going to open another gate. The Gate of the Golden Bull. This is currently Lucy's strongest summon, and it summons the Zodiac Golden Key Celestial Spirit, Taurus, who is a giant cow bull thing that swings a huge giant axe. He has pretty much, as far as we're aware currently, just insane durability and insane strength, also being a very good fighter. However, this fight doesn't go well, because just as Taurus is about to wipe the floor with the Vulcan, Natsu comes in and thinks another monster has turned up, so he beats up Taurus by accident. And I think the comedy in this episode is kind of an important thing for Fairy Tale, where they really do have to have these moments where you have a comedic bit, because a lot of the times when you slip into these arcs in the future, which we'll look at in later videos, they get stuck in these arcs for a while. And sometimes the arcs are very serious in nature. Later on, the Grand Magic Games is very, very fun. And then you get to the second half of the Grand Magic Games and it's very, very serious. And I think that's one of my favorite arcs because that is split in two, where you have a lot of the fun side of Fairy Tail and you also have a lot of the serious side of Fairy Tail. But I do think the comedy is pretty important. But anyway, back to the fight with the Vulcan. The Vulcan then takes Taurus's axe to fight Natsu with, and the fight becomes a little bit more even until Natsu melts the axe and begins to eat it for more energy with his, fire eating skill. He then uses the Fire Dragon Iron Fist to finish that Vulcan off. And then the Vulcan transforms back into a wounded Macau. See, what really happens with Vulcans is they aren't beasts by themselves. They're parasitic creatures that live on Mount Hakabe that need a host to survive. So they transform their hosts into the full Vulcan creature. But before that, they're not full Vulcans. And it turns out that it wasn't just one Vulcan on the mountain. Macau actually got taken over on the 20th Vulcan. He already took down 19 of these bad boys. That's how much of a good wizard Macau is. Macau is a bad man, but unfortunately that last Vulcan got him, transformed him into the beast that they took down. But anyway, we get back to the town and Romeo sits on the stairs steps reminiscing about how his dad was going out to defeat these Vulcans to prove to Romeo's bullies that the Fairy Tail Guild is strong and that his dad is a strong mage. You can sort of see that Romeo blames himself for his father going out on that mission, but that's quickly put aside when Macau tells his son, "You go tell those boys that my dad beat 19 monsters by himself at the top of Mount Hakabe." Romeo doesn't seem to care. He's just hugging his dad and he's really happy that they're home. This is a nice emotional moment to end the episode on. Macau comes home to his son Romeo, and Lucy really gets to see that side of Natsu, which will solidify later on why they become more of a team, and not just because of the first episode where they meet each other, but the fact that they stay together when they do these missions is because Lucy knows the people in Fairy Tail now, but she is Natsu's friend. She really knows this guy now, and he does what is morally right, no matter what the consequences are. And I think she really likes that. So this is sort of what begins to bring them together as a team. And I think this is the perfect arc to introduce Fairy Tail with. So yeah, that's kind of it. That's the whole thing. My review on this is that I really like the first two episodes of Fairy Tail. I do think it's a strong starter for a long-running series, because a lot of the long-running series that you start with often have characters who are in a world and then they're being introduced to the world. You know what I mean? Like Naruto is in the ninja world, but he's not part of the ninja school yet. And then you've got Bleach, who is completely separate from the world of, Reapers and things like that, but then gets introduced to those things. Fairy Tail doesn't do that. Fairy Tail starts off with exactly what the show is going to be. They're going to be in a new location, completing a mission for the guild, and through that, you're going to get wizards with different personality traits, and you're going to have like an emotional core at the center of everything that just says, look, Fairy Tail is a family, and this guild is about friendship, it's about magic, and it's about being the best that we can be together. And I think these two episodes really, really, really encapsulate that, especially with them welcoming Lucy in. Even though Lucy has dreamed of this guild for so long, she just gets welcomed in day one just because Natsu says so. And then the first day that she is a Fairy Tail wizard, they go out and rescue one of the Fairy Tail comrades because no man left behind. It really shows that there is a moral compass at the center of this guild. And I don't think later on the other guilds that we will be introduced to have the same moral compass. And I think that's what makes Fairy Tail the greatest guild to have a show about them. Anyway, that is everything that I have to say about the first arc. I will be following this up with more arcs and more stuff about the Fairy Tail show in the future. I'll see you guys in Arc 2 of Fairy Tail, and let me know any of the other types of anime you want me to cover arc by arc down in the comments below. And please don't forget to subscribe, as subscriptions are the main thing that I get to know that you guys want to come back for more, and liking and commenting always helps. But either way, I've been Yu-Gi-Oh! And peace.